Alright, so I don't have much battery left, but getting ready to cut some steel. So I started cutting actually, and decided, I was thinking, why not put this on film so you guys can see it. So I've got a bunch of outlines marked. I'm actually making a bunch of the same thing right now, you know, just practice. And just a sneak preview, this is what I'm making. So I've done this one already. Just kind of roughed it out. It's pretty much got a grind on it. I just need to drill holes in it, and then it's ready for heat treat. So I'm going to make several of this kind to practice with, and then I've got some other ones that I'm going to do. So that's what I'm doing. Let me put this on the tripod and I'll grind it. Alright, so I've got a full face shield, so I'm going to sound funny. I put on long sleeves this time. It's not necessary, but I got a whole bunch of pieces of metal flake and stuff all over in my arm hair, and that's not overly fun. So got the cutting wheel on my angle grinder here, and I'm going to throw the sparks that way so you guys aren't, sorry, my camera's not going to get destroyed. So here we go. Not quite there. Don't want that to fall on my foot. So there we go. There's one piece. Guess I'll reposition and we'll keep going. So we'll do another. I'm just gonna cut out a bunch of these tonight, and then I'll start shaping them another night. Okay, I'm going to show you something that probably not advisable, but I'm doing it anyway. See how the cuts? I'm doing a lot of different angles, and probably as straight as you can go, the better. But I'm cheap and I'm trying to conserve steel, so I'm cutting around stuff, and you know, so it's definitely easier to go in a straighter line. That one's a lot more straight, and it was kind of a pain because it still has a bunch of angles. So anyway, just wanted to get that said. Let's put this back over here. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit more. Let's try that. I'm trying to stay out of the way, but also, as I'm going, I'm scoring before I try to cut all the way through, and it helps give me a track for the cutting blade to kind of follow. So I score it real lightly, gives me a groove to kind of follow along with this thing. So another thing I'm doing as I cut, I'm not using my arms to guide the blade, and a lot of you that's probably really obvious, but just thought I'd mention that depending on what comfort level you have with power tools, I don't know if you can see it in the shot. I'll have to check. If not, I'll back it up a little bit. You'll see how I'm holding the angle grinder. I'm kind of holding it against my body, and I'm more moving my body. I'm not using my arms. I'm not out here. Get a lot more control. You can keep the tool a lot more under control, and so you can follow your marks a lot easier that way. So another thing I thought I'd throw out there. I'm gonna finish cutting these. You guys probably don't need to see all that. I'll probably cut this down anyway. So thanks for watching. All right, so last bit of advice tonight. Definitely use the angle grinder with a cutting wheel. These cutting wheels are real cheap. Here's another one. They're like $2-3 bucks, and the thinner I find, the better. They cut through it a lot faster and it's a lot more controlled. The reciprocating saw or Sawzall is not nearly as good for controlled cuts. These may look sloppy, but I'm actually kind of contouring around the shape. That's still warm. This one I probably should have done better, but I can kind of contour around the shape. Now, while you could score a real nice kind of slow or sweeping cut, it's not advisable, because once you get down into it, those sweeping cuts with these, they don't really work, because you get more of the blade exposed onto the metal, and they want to make a series of straight cuts is a lot easier, as I said before. So anyway, yeah, that's all I'm going to do tonight. Got several of them here, ready to start shaping. Like this one's probably done with that, and I could go to the sander, or if I had a grinder, or I may put a grinding wheel on my angle grinder. But if I had a bench grinder, I would rough out that a little bit closer before I went to the sander. So got belts everywhere. I got to figure out so here's actually something cool. So here's my setup for my lights. These are actually the lights that I use for filming inside too. So I decided to make them usable by hanging them up on the wall. That's where they go, and I just turn them on. I got a switch over there on a surge protector, so kind of neat. And then I've got another one over here on top of this fridge, which is actually, I'm going to get some hooks and hang it up there, so it'll be down onto the workspace. So I got plenty of light here, which is awesome. You can never have too much light in a shop. So anyway, yeah, bit of advice for the day. My current favorite method for rough cutting is an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel. Mine happens to be a 4-inch, which works great. So 3-inch would probably get in there a little bit tighter. I could probably do some better stuff with it. Maybe a pneumatic one, air cutoff tool would probably be even better. But I'm using what I got. I've bought a lot of stuff for this already. So anyway, have a good night.